More than 10 years have passed since the National Dismantlement War. A league of corporations has taken control of the world. To escape the pollution that poisons the surface of the planet, they have built massive floating platforms called cradles. Only there, 7,000 meters above the ground, is the air clean and safe. Already half of mankind lives in the skies. The planet's surface has become a battlefield where armies fight to control the resource plants that feed the cradles.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our penultimate episode of Armored Core August, where we're covering Armored Core 4 Answer, the 13th entry in the Armored Core franchise. We're almost at the end of this little series of videos, and before we dive into the story of this game, I'd like to give HaloOwl another shout out once again for his awesome thumbnails that he made for all of these videos. I'd also like to ask y'all to support the content however y'all want. Now let's dive in, shall we? Set 5 years after Armored Core 4's Lynx War, where you and Joshua single-handedly destroyed each and every corporation, the Earth has been heavily decimated by pollution from the large-scale use of Kojima weaponry, leading to the majority of humanity taking to the atmosphere to live in what's called cradles, artificial habitats far above the decimated poison Earth down below. As a new Lynx, you can choose your company allegiance, which will also choose your starting loadout for your mech, which basically chooses your initial starting difficulty, though this becomes a moot point as you gain access to more equipment. Now, though the companies are mostly aligned in a league due to the events of Anatolia's Mercenary, and as such, your primary opponents will be Line Arc, Orca, and other rebels who oppose the corporation's rule, though depending on the story route, that could change in a variety of ways, being the second game in the series to feature multiple endings. Armored Core 4 Answer is a direct sequel to Armored Core 4. It was released in 2008 in all regions, though in different months of the year. The game expands upon Armored Core 4 in almost every way. There's more missions, more endings, the worlds are larger, there's more customization, and even more destruction, and more story. But we can cover all of that now in the gameplay section. As we just said, 4 Answer expands on almost everything Armored Core 4 did, making the game a much more enjoyable experience than Armored Core 4 was, at least for me personally. The same fast-paced, action-packed gameplay of 4 is here, but it's been made more difficult, and the missions are less forgiving, and there's a greater variety to these missions. Plus, if you pursue different endings, you can actually see these missions from different perspectives. The game definitely challenged me a lot more than Armored Core 4 did, constantly keeping up the pressure, especially with some of those AC boss fights, who could really keep the damage coming if you don't come with a solid strategy to handle them. The mission count has been increased from 37 to 42, with an additional hard mode for every single mission. That usually makes each mission even more dickish and a gut punch. Now the arena mode is also back. It's accessible earlier than it was in 4, as well as having that higher difficulty. Though I do have to say they further reduced the amount of maps from 6 maps total to now only 5. But they are more varied and interesting than the maps of Armored Core 4, including no VR maps, which is a nice thing, and the maps are also bigger than Armored Core 4's maps. This also applies to the missions. All of the mission maps are often much larger than 4's missions. Some are so big that the game will literally strap a rocket booster like what you'd see on a rocket into space, and will use that to hurtle you at hundreds if not thousands of miles per hour across the entire battlefield before it disengages from your back when it runs out of fuel near your destination. The shit's absolutely wild. Another thing to mention about the larger maps is the fact that the map's destructibility has also been greatly increased. You'll be able to level a whole highway system, cities, towns, other random parts of the environment. The amount of damage is wild, and I definitely think it was a good addition. It really helps to convey the sense of destruction that an Armored Core would be able to inflict in situations shown in the game, just raining devastation upon everything. Now, one thing I really do like is the expanded amount of endings, which, like Last Raven, adds to the replay value as you push through the game a second or even a third time to unlock everything, as well as to attempt to do things better. Now, let's switch gears and discuss the customization, shall we? The Emblem system, while being that bleh frame system of Armored Core 4, at least has been made more interesting, as you can now add your emblem anywhere on your body, however you want, as a decal. I stuck mine on the faceplate of my mech, but you could do it all over. It's just its orientation and size. This is a cool addition, but if only I was still able to make my emblem fully from scratch. I love the pixel art capabilities of all the older games. It really made your emblem feel unique and interesting. Now, as far as mech customization goes, however, it's greatly expanded over Armored Core 4, having roughly double the amount of pieces as found in 4, and the tuning system is less freely given compared to Armored Core 4, requiring you to earn it at a slower pace. Though overall, there is more points to be earned than in 4. Also, a fun little Easter egg, this is the first game where you meet Patches. While there is a character very similar to Patches in the Japanese-only Shadow Tower Abyss, this is the first time he is named as such, as where a lot of the traditions you would later see in Patches would carry over. So yeah, that's a fun and cute little thing to see. And the Japanese voice actor for him in this game also reprises the role in Demon Souls as well as Bloodborne, further linking the characters. Not gonna lie, I love the fact he's such a recurring character, only beaten by the Moonlight Greatsword in all of FromSoft's series. Oh, and one last thing I almost forgot to mention because I rarely ever used it outside of the tutorial, is that there's a new armor mechanic that if you activate your overboost while holding L1, R1, or right bumper, left bumper, you'll activate a Primal armor blast, which can inflict massive damage on everything around you, but it'll also drain your primal armor entirely, leaving you with a much weakened amount of defenses, as you can now take the full damage value of all incoming hits. Now this just about covers the gameplay, so let's talk about how it looks and runs, shall we? So one thing I want to mention, after having played the 360 version of 4 Answer, apparently most of the frame rate issues are exclusive to the PS3 versions of these games, so you're less likely to encounter frame rate drops in the 360 versions. I didn't notice any at all while playing through 4 Answer on my 360. Now, one thing that's a definite improvement for both versions, however, is the visuals. 4 Answer's a lot prettier than Armored Core 4 was. They really used the 2 years between 4 and 4 Answer to polish the visuals. I didn't encounter that blurry filtered look pretty much anywhere, when it was pretty prevalent in 4, so that's a definite improvement. And the soundtrack's also still pretty damn solid, taking on a blending of rock, electronic, and symphonic styles, really giving the game its own unique flavor while still being reminiscent of what came before. So far, this is the best of the more modern Armored Cores in my opinion, but we'll have to see if 5 can change that opinion in our next video. This is also your proof I don't move on to playing the next game until I've at least written the script for this game. I think that just about covers this section, so let's move on to the final section and finish this video, shall we? That's one more Armored Core complete, and we're almost there. So overall, how do I feel about 4 Answer? Honestly, it's an improvement over 4 in pretty much every regard. The difficulty's been increased, the missions do not reuse the same map over and over like they did in 4, the soundtrack is cooler for me, the graphics are shinier and more refined, the frame rate is much more stable, but that may also be because this is the 360 version and I don't have the PS3 version of 4 Answer to compare. There's more missions to play, and even multiple endings you can earn on repeat playthroughs. and even more customization. So 4 Answer is definitely much more of an upgrade over Armored Core 4, and I'd say it's highly worth playing. Though unlike 4, it's definitely spiked in price. PS3/360 emulation is spotty at best, and digital copies of both games are not available. So there isn't many great options to enjoy both versions of these games currently. But if you do find a copy of this game for a reasonable price, I definitely recommend it. So far, it's the best of the 7th generation of console Armored Core games I've played so far. Now with that complete, I'd like to once again thank HaloOwl for his lovely work. I'd also like to thank all the members and donors seen on screen for y'all's constant support. It really does help. I'd also like to thank all of y'all for watching this far, and I'm inviting y'all to our final episode of Armored Core August's reviews until Armored Core 6 releases, that being Armored Core 5. I'll see y'all then. This has been Core. Peace out and stay safe.